It's time for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, the show that helps you be prepared to care for your family regardless of the circumstances that may come your way. Now, here's your host for today, Mark Lamb.
Glenn, we had recorded this podcast, and it ended up being an hour long. We broke it up into 2 bits, so we're going to play just a little bit of last week's.
We've done this in the past, and and I'm going to come back to it just for your own sake to see if you've paid attention and actually done any of these things. And this is the pop quiz here.
Okay.
And it's right off. I'm going to pretty much read off what I've already done, but this is different time, different people, and we're going to see if you're actually moving forward, getting it done.
Right.
So, pop quiz.
All right.
How good are your door locks? We talked about this. And the reason I say this is break-ins are increasing.
Right.
Which not good, as I said that on the same pop quiz.
Mm-hmm.
So they've increased even more since then.
Wow.
So folks, hard times make people do hard things.
They do.
So you need to protect your home. Do you have a security system yet? Even if it's just a simple driveway alarm, to let you know that someone's coming in your driveway or someone's walking around your house. These driveway alarms can pick up a car or a person. If you're going to store water long term for a 2-week outage, do the math. You got 4 people in the house times a gallon each day for each person, so that's 4 gallons, times 2 weeks, 14 days, do the math here. That's quite a large amount of water. Go get you one of these food grade barrels and fill it up.
Right.
55 gallons, because you may be supplying water for maybe your neighbor, your mother, your kids, whatever it is.
Sure.
The whole world seems to be up in arms over something.
Right.
And I don't mean just a little angry. I mean hundreds of thousands of people mobbing their capital. Something's going on.
Yeah.
We've just had enough.
Yeah.
And it makes certain people just really nervous. I seen the local sheriff's department put up a big sign. It says, "Lock it up." Have you seen that one?
I have not.
And it shows your house, your weapons, and your cars.
Okay.
Keep them all locked up.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's a good thing.
Yeah. This is part 2 of Pop Quiz.
Yes.
And let's jump right back in. You're listening to Sustainable Living Made Easy. Glenn, I have to ask you because of the comment I just made about Amazon. I can't help but believe that this is built into their whole idea of total reliance upon them. And I say them as in because our government, no matter who's the president, corporations, they are in bed with our government. That's just the way it works now.
And
we are reliant. And you don't think these huge... Just remember back with COVID, there was a handful of big companies that aligned themselves with the government and said, we'll do whatever. And they were saying, now you can go to Target, and they were naming names of companies that were complying. So you don't think that could happen again? You're wrong.
Well, there's a whole different set of rules that come open during an emergency. We did a show on martial law,
right?
And the law is temporarily suspended. Your Constitution is temporarily suspended. And I wish they'd change that law. But who makes up the law? It's whoever's in charge.
Right.
Starting at the very top all the way down to your county level. And if the military comes in, that's who's in charge.
Right.
If it's just your county government and the local police, they're in charge. Then it'll work all the way up to the state level. If it's bad enough, you hear them say, "Oh, we were declared a state of emergency." That is a form of martial law. that gives them anonymity to do things that you didn't think that they could do, like Katrina when idiots went down there and tried to confiscate guns.
Right.
And they were confiscating guns from people that needed the darn guns.
Right.
Because people were stealing from them.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm just saying, during an emergency, it is not like you think, because we haven't been through one in our area for a long time. And really, we haven't had a national emergency for a long time.
Right.
911 was probably, or 9/11 was probably the biggest national emergency we've had in a while.
Sure.
But it really didn't affect our area here. It, other than ticked us off.
Right. Sure.
And we've got some people who think that was set up. Holy cow! But you were talking about the corporation running this stuff. Yeah, this stuff is so deeply embedded now, and we've lost control of it.
Right.
That they're controlling way too much of our lives. And we can't do nothing about that.
Right.
For now.
For now. Right.
We're going to
one way to control it is preparing for it.
Yeah, well.
So they can't
That's
control
not
us.
a control format. That's just damage control,
Right.
maybe. Okay, if that's what the only thing you can do, by God, do it. So you're not in to have to make a tyrannical government do something. There's only a couple ways you can make a tyrannical government change their minds. We talked about this before the show.
Right.
And I'm not going to put it out there on air. But I don't want you to be out in that chaos. And it's going to be that way. And hopefully they can get it under control fast enough that you won't have to. But looking around the world,
Right.
they don't seem to be paying attention or listening to us anymore.
Nope.
And it's the deep state that has done this. I mean, how did all those people get in all those countries? Somebody opened the door.
Somebody did.
Like Biden did. And I think it was a coordinated effort for the whole darn world. Because the whole darn world has got the same problem.
Right.
How could that be?
Exactly.
Unless somebody shared that information, said, hey, guys, this is what we're going to do. Now, we can get into this conspiracy land if you want. I just,
Well, the difference between reality and conspiracy, about 30 to 60 days.
Yeah. I don't want people to panic thinking I'm fear-mongering.
Right.
I don't have to. You just look around you. If you're not scared, you're foolish. And the thing about being scared is okay for a little while, but then you got to do something about it.
Well, you got to take action. You're right.
Yeah, and dispel that fear and face that fear.
Yep.
And the way you do that is to prepare.
Right.
Do it for yourself, your family, your neighbor, your state, your country. If you're more prepared than the next guy, the odds of you surviving a calamity are much higher.
Sure.
There's no guarantee here.
Yeah.
You just increased your odds of being able to survive a calamity, and that's what we want you to do.
Right.
Be sustainable enough that you can make it through.
Amen.
Medical emergencies of a small nature or a large nature. I caught a video of how to patch up a bullet wound by yourself. Holy cow, did I just really see that? Now, I didn't think I'd ever see one, and it was pretty graphic. I won't go into it on here, but holy cow. If you're in a collapse, there is no hospital. If you're out wandering around out in the chaos, the odds of being shot at are pretty high. Because
Right.
There's idiots out there all over the place, and they're desperate.
Yeah,
Desperate people do desperate things,
Right.
and I don't want to be out there with them. So here was a video in today's time showing you how to patch up a bullet hole. Oh, wow. I mean, that's like a military film, that I watched. And I didn't think I'd ever see that out in the civilian population, but here it is. But that's a little sign for you folks. When you start seeing Patriot supplies, I remember seeing that for the first time, going, wow. And then they had public service announcements, being prepared for 30 days, having 30 days of food. You know, Glenn Beck selling 30. We're talking major news broadcasters selling Patriot supplies.
Right.
And he does things because he believes in them, one.
Right, sure.
And two, he makes $1 off of it. Okay,
Sure.
I don't fault him for that.
No, I don't
God
either.
bless capitalism. But I'm just saying, these are things that never was here before.
Well, I told...
The Times calls this. The Times calls these things.
yeah.
And here's your sign.
Well, I mean, when we wanted to become foster parents a number of years ago, we had to agree that we had a 30-day supply of food.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, okay, I mean, that makes sense. But
And that was 10 years ago. So, anyway,
yeah.
they know something too. Anyway.
All right, so we're into, say, week 2, and things are getting kind of serious.
Right.
Curiosity is killing you because you want to go out and find out what is going on in my neighborhood because your TV's not working, your phone's not working. How are you going to communicate? That's a big deal. So, you know, the old school would say, go out to the truck, turn on the CB.
Right.
How many of you have a CB? Probably not a whole lot.
Right.
I've done shows on them, folks.
Yeah.
They're fairly easy to get, easy to hook up. Anybody that hook up a radio, car stereo can hook one of these up. There's shops all over town that do that kind of work. Your buddy could probably do it as long as he makes sure it's grounded and you don't kill your battery every night.
Right.
But having that communication,
Right.
Even if you don't talk on it,
Yeah, you're just
listen.
monitoring. Yes.
And listening to the crap that's going on. Most of these CBs nowadays have other features too. They may have the capability to have a ham radio, a band in it.
Okay.
Now, if you're not a ham radio licensed operator, you're not supposed to get on there and speak.
Right.
But you can listen all you want. But there's one caveat. In case of emergencies, then you can get on there and speak and holler out saying, I need help over in, Lynchburg.
Right.
And then it's okay. Well, guess what? If they're declared martial law, this is an emergency.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
If you don't know what a ham is, ham can talk around the world if your radio's strong enough.
Right.
But I'm not real interested in talking around the world. More than likely, I just need to go, 25, 30 miles away.
Sure.
So you either know what's coming or what's happening. But the CB can do the same thing if you got a good setup, good antenna. You can go that 25, 30 miles, which is probably what most people would do. But if you had a group of you that had CBs, and these things aren't thousands of dollars. Now, you can buy that $1,000 radio, but you don't need it. They have much cheaper versions. $100 or $200 will allow you to talk 10, 15 miles, depending on your elevation. If you got to drive to the top of the hill, so be it. If you got to climb up into the attic to get a signal out, so be it. You can set these things up in your house, not just in a car. So having a battery is all you really need. Needing that 12 volts to charge it, to activate that radio, to make it operate.
Right.
It's 12 volts. Well, if you had just a simple car battery in your attic and a little small solar panel to maintain it, every time the sun comes up, it charges it. That's enough to run that radio.
At some point, Glenn, and this, I'm going to put an earmark on this, I would love for us to do a show on just communications because I've seen advertisements like crazy for these rapid radios that are apparently can go up to 250 miles or further. My concern with that, and I would love to have that capacity, is my concern with that is misinformation. that's one of the areas I think we can maybe explore at some point, because I would hope under these circumstances that real information is getting out and nobody is, like they do it for fun now. You get.
Okay, ham operators. That goes back to the emergency part.
Right.
The government allowed these ham operators to operate these very large towers,
right,
in their backyard, that they can talk around the world. But here was the deal: in case of emergencies, they had to make their radio available to put out emergency information.
Okay.
So it's part of the emergency broadcast system.
Right.
So the guys that are into ham radios are usually really good guys.
Right.
They're not going to put out disinformation
right.
unless they don't know that they are putting out a disinformation.
Right. I hate to throw that part in there, but
I understand. And there will be people that will put that kind of stuff out, but most of those kind of people are not going to be at that level.
Right.
There are certain features on CB radios that you can get in between, and this is technical stuff for radio people.
Right.
You can learn this stuff, but there is a way to get in between two channels, like CBs. Everybody knows that CBs have channel 1 through 40.
Right.
That's the citizens band. That's what the government says you people can operate in, and we won't say nothing. Well, in between, say, 7 and 8 is a little gray area.
Okay.
Now, if you can tune your radio to be in that gray area, no one else can hear you, but your buddy down the road is in the same gray area.
Huh.
So you're working off the same wavelength.
Okay.
When you're having a conversation and you agree, people say, we're on the same wavelength.
Right.
Well, this is where that comes from.
I was unaware of that.
So
okay.
There's a lot of people with CBs, so there'll be a lot of traffic on there and a lot of talking, people talking over each other.
Right.
But if I can get between channels 7 and 8, I can blend them out.
Okay.
So it's like having a half a channel.
Interesting.
Now, I've been to a few little classes that my buddy showed up and did some classes for us.
Right.
And he showed us how to do this. And it's pretty interesting that you can do that when all that other traffic just kind of fades to the background.
Okay.
And now we have a clear channel again. Now, I don't know how many CBs are out there.
Right.
I imagine it's quite a few, but it's not as many as it used to be. Back in the 70s, everybody had a CB.
Gosh, yeah.
Every good redneck had one in his truck because he was a coon hunter, a deer hunter.
Right, sure.
Thank God for the rednecks. So who's going to operate this radio? It probably won't be you guys. Mm-hmm. It'll probably be your wife or maybe even your teenage daughter.
Right.
Do they know how to operate it? We did a class in our area just for women.
Oh, wow.
Now we didn't get into the technical end of it, but we got them a cheat sheet together.
Okay.
Where they could turn it on, change channels,
right.
Learn a lot about that radio with a cheat sheet. So they don't have to know it all. They'll tell you, I just want to be able to turn it on, talk to who I need to talk to.
Right.
And that's what we did. Now, Now these ladies are now capable of doing it today because they have a cheat sheet. Mm-hmm. That's a real good thing, folks.
Yeah.
If you've got some radio guy in your area, set one of these up. Do it for your wife. Do it for yourself. Because more than likely, you're going to be outside doing something, working, who knows.
Right.
But you're going to be the bronze and the strength of this family, doing all the hard work.
Right.
While your wife's taking care of the house, the kids, and probably the protection of the house while you're out doing something else.
Right. Yeah, getting firewood or whatever.
Like getting firewood, yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole lot of things that's going on here just because the lights went out. And it's that simple. I mean, have you ever had the lights go out? Of course you have. Are they ever going to go out again? You better believe it.
Yeah.
Why are they going to go out? Pick one. Just pick one. But they're going to go out. Hopefully it won't be for the long term like we're talking about.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks. You get past a month, we're in trouble. And it's not me doing these statistics. These statistics are coming out everywhere. Psychological tests say that you can't last more than 30 days. Today's American could not last more than 30 days.
Yeah.
After that, people are just in serious trouble. Can you imagine a major city that the Democrats run?
Yeah.
I mean, this is good times compared to some major outage.
Right.
And they can't even run it then.
Yeah, they can't. Right.
So I'm just saying, don't expect them to help you in any shape or form because they're not interested in helping you.
The irony there is, and I don't have 1 ounce of glee here, but the same folks that they have bent over backwards for the handouts,
right,
are the ones that are going to turn on them the quickest.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to turn on them the quickest because for some reason the valve has been throttled back or completely turned off.
Let's say you've got your favorite dog that you raised up from a puppy and you quit feeding him.
Right.
He is no longer your favorite dog because
Right.
now he's your neighbor's favorite dog.
Right.
Because he will leave you in a minute.
Yeah.
It's just you didn't take care of him, and now he's mad at you. And same thing with the human nature. They will turn on them.
Yep.
That's a fact. So we've got a little food and a little water. Do you have the ability to cook any of that food? This is another statistic to come out of the World War II was the morale booster of a hot meal.
Yeah.
Now, I've eaten Army chow. I've eaten the MREs. I've even eaten sea rations. Sea rations are canned rations.
Right.
So, that's pretty old school. And then the MREs come out. All of them are much better when they're heated up.
Right.
And the military knew that. But it's hard to keep a guy's supplies with ability to heat food, so they pretty much did it on their own. Back to those homemade candles.
Right.
And the corrugated cardboard soaked in some oil or fat or whatever they could find, and they cooked. Now, not just cooking, but coffee. Hot cup of coffee when you're soaked and miserable and raining is a big deal.
Sure it is.
And that may be the only thing to get you through tomorrow. Just that little psychological boost. You may store a bunch of beans and ammo, but you better be able to cook them beans, and maybe even season them a little, salt them and pepper, all that changes the flavor from a dry bean. I can tell you that. So have that ability to cook in some form or fashion, whether it's your grill. Your grill's not going to last but about 30 days if all you have is a 100-pound tank.
Right.
You'll use that up fairly
Pretty
quickly.
quickly.
So have a backup to your backup plan. How long you can use those easy methods depends on fuel. So that's a whole nother category.
Right.
If you're going to be doing any kind of cooking, open flame cooking, you better have a fire extinguisher right next to it because crap happens.
Yeah.
You're not used to cooking on that camp stove. There's not as much room as your big 6-burner gas griddle, so things happen.
Right.
You don't want to burn down your whole house or your little shed because you were trying to stay warm or trying to cook. Having that extinguisher where you can stop an emergency fire right quick. Because if it gets bigger than that, everything's gone.
Right.
There is no fire department going to be coming. They're too busy.
Yeah.
So fire extinguishers.
And we mentioned fire extinguishers last week about making sure that pressure gauge is
right. So you can see, even with the little bit we're going through right now, how it'll expand. That information that you need to know is expanding all the time. I can't do it all. I can't do it all. Of course you can't.
right.
That's why you need groups of people
Yes.
that share that resource.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just you give me what I can need out of your stock. That ain't the way it works. But if everybody is saying, hey, I found this guy that's got or extinguishers really cheap, good CO2 or ABC or halons. That's how that you're going to have to do this, because it's probably not in your budget to go out and start buying all the things we're talking about.
Right.
You're going to have to do them one at a time, barter, trade, whatever it takes to get prepared, just increasing your odds. I know we're getting towards the end of the show.
How about you get to know your neighbor too? That'd be a good thing.
Well,
Social media has had the opposite effect. We're not social.
Right.
We're fixed to a screen.
These kids that play video games, they probably don't even know what the guy looks like that he's been playing with for years.
Right. Right.
My son up in Pennsylvania plays these video games, and he's into it. And he don't know who these people are,
Right.
really, other than through a game.
Sure.
So do you know your neighbor? And not necessarily so you can team up with your neighbor. Just know your neighbor, know who he is.
Yeah.
And he may not be the best guy in the world.
Right.
But that's good information too.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll let you ponder that. Maps is going to be one of the last things we're going to talk about. It is just smart to have a map. Well, I've got MapQuest. Yes, you do. Temporarily.
Temporarily.
I'll bet you there's not half a dozen people that could tell me how to get from point A to point B if it's more than 20 miles and the road names that I need to take to get there. Because MapQuest has always told them, turn here. In 800 feet, turn. Doesn't,
Right. That's not good.
it doesn't sink into your brain. It's too easy.
Yeah.
So your brain doesn't need to remember it. And that's the way your brain works. I've already got this information stored in my hand. That'll go away. That will definitely go away. Hey, you can't charge your battery.
Can I just throw out and maybe we could talk about this one of the shows coming down, because just a couple of weeks ago you talked about the 5 things that the Bosnian War,
Right.
the top things that people said they wish they had. I think that we have national this day or national that week or whatever. I think we ought to have a national just for 48 hours. What would it look like for 48 hours that, other than picking the phone up for emergencies, that we fully unplugged and live life like we had to, Glenn, even 25 or 30 years ago. We didn't have all these conveniences.
Correct.
We could be thrown back to that and beyond.
Right.
We could be thrown back 100 years or more. And what would that look like for us to do a fast?
It would look like a 10-minute experience, because people would go, I ain't doing this.
Right.
I'm missing the baseball game. But
Sure.
just the fact that you don't have
You can listen on the radio.
That's
How about
right.
that?
I'll bet you there's not a handful of people out there that still have a hand crank can opener.
Right.
Back when I was a kid, I had a favorite one. We had like 4 of them.
Yeah.
A hand crank, and anything that has to do with no electricity. Do you have those kind of tools that require no electricity?
Right.
Probably not. Everything's battery operated now. At least all my tools are.
Yeah.
But I still got a whole nother set of hand tools. And that's because I see the need for it. If I'm out on a job site and there is nowhere to plug in,
Yeah.
And my battery goes dead. What do? You pull out some hand tool if you had to do that.
Sure.
I could still do that. There's just a million and one things that I could continue to list on and spend the whole day just
Sure.
saying stuff that you need to duplicate.
Yeah.
You go, Glenn, my budget just won't handle it. Well, then you're going to have to figure it out. What could you do?
Yeah.
And there's small, cheap things. The military's got a can opener that is not operated by thing. You ever hear of it? It's called a P-38. Now, you got to be kind of old to know this. Used to get sea rations, get your meal in a box.
Uh-huh.
Had a couple cans of food in it. Every 10th box had a P-38 can opener in
Okay.
it. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It had a hole in the end of it. You know what that was for? It's to hang on your dog tags.
Oh my gosh! So you wouldn't lose it.
Yeah. So everybody
Okay.
had one hanging
Yeah.
on their dog tags.
Yeah.
And sometimes a little blade would flop open, poke you square in the chest. You could say things that you're not supposed to say as a Christian, but
Right.
you learn that you got to turn it sideways and put a little piece of tape around it.
Yeah.
So it didn't happen a second time. But there's a million and one little things just like that.
Right.
People go talk about gas stoves. We were talking about this the other day, my wife and I and some friends. She said, well, I got a gas stove. You know, I need to get some extra propane. I looked at her gas stove and I'm going, it won't work. It's electrically operated.
Oh, yeah.
All the little safety devices on it
Yeah.
are electrically operated. It won't work.
How about that?
When you turn the gas on to your little knob, turn it to high so
Yeah.
it lights, there's a little electrical sensor that says, yes, the flame is lit, the temperature goes up, it's called a thermocoupler.
Yeah.
Temperature goes up, go ahead and continue to work.
Right.
But it took an electronic spark to make it even fire up. Little piezo igniter. You hear them going click, 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 click.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's because it's plugged into the wall.
Right.
Now, some of the gas stoves are not like that. Some of the gas stoves you can actually turn on, and if the little, even though they are plugged in, if the power was out, you could still take a match and light the gas,
Right.
and it would still burn.
Right.
But the little safety devices on these newer ones won't
allow
work
it.
like that. They just turn themselves off.
Wow.
So, my goodness gracious, folks.
Wouldn't it have been nice if they had put it like a little button, like the arc button you have on your logs, for example?
Yeah, just a Bic lighter will work.
Yeah.
That's a good prepper item, by the way, folks.
Yeah.
Bic lighters,
Exactly.
several of them. All right, I think we freaked
Well, we've
out
got a
people
lot.
enough and said, now I've blown my whole month's budget on just prepping here, but it's increasing your odds, folks. That's
Yeah.
all I want you to do is steadily increase your odds against a calamity or just a winter storm. Get it done.
All right.
Be sustainable.
Yeah. Glenn, thank you.
Thank you.
Join us again next week for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, helping you be prepared and not scared. This podcast drops every Friday anywhere you get your podcast.